Alex Golesh gets another opportunity to locker Kirby Smart on the recruiting trail. Can he do it?
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
So we're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. Another weekend, another opportunity to send a message across the state lines to say, hey, we're not playing games. As Carlos May comes in to visit, there's another recruit, too, that we're going to talk about that could be even a bigger shot across the bow to Georgia and Kirby Smart. We're going to give a quick update on the South Florida watch party from last night, and I need your guys' help on something. So we'll get to that, and then we're going to give away our Jackarse of the Week award, and it's going to be a doozy. But let's jump right into it. Obviously, Auburn, Alex Golesh have had some success as of late recruiting against Kirby Smart, which is not something that is very normal. He pretty much gets a lot of the guys that he wants, and when you go head-to-head with him, Auburn just has not had a lot of luck as of late. But with Isaac McNeil, with Chance Gilbert, you got two on the board really, really quickly, and you got a chance to do it again. Not 100% this weekend. Don't know that you can close it out this weekend because he has a commitment date semi-scheduled. But we're talking about Carlos May, the big interior defensive lineman from Ramsey High School in Birmingham. And just like a quick refresher to get to know Carlos May, you're talking about the 126th player in the country, number 5 player in the state of Alabama. High 4-star, would really help shoot up your class ranking. He's been to Auburn a ton, man. He's been to Auburn like 7 times, according to his Rivals page, as far as visits go. Way more than anyone else. Now, obviously, location helps, but it's not that far to go to, out of your way to go to Athens or Atlanta or Oxford or Tuscaloosa. He's been to Auburn 7 times. So clearly there is a desire there to at least come visit, come check things out, and potentially go to Auburn. The problem is, in today's game, when you're looking at this from the player side, you can't tip your hand too early. I know that's aggravating, and I know you're probably rolling your eyes, and it's like, dadgummit, if you want to go to Auburn, just go to Auburn. But you have to understand that there's a lot of financial ramifications to the way things play out in your recruitment. And, I mean, let's just call it what it is. Money matters. Money matters. Relationships matter as well, but money matters. And a lot of times, just think about it. If people are fighting over you and you're only going with one party, the other guys aren't going to try as hard, and maybe even your party's not going to try as hard to get you because they just assume and take for granted that you're going to come. So you got to play the game a little bit. He went to Georgia this past weekend, and I think he maybe even came out and said Georgia was his leader. I'm not saying that I don't necessarily believe that. I do think, obviously, Kirby's a great recruiter. Obviously, Georgia is – you can't argue with their success, particularly on defense. They pump out defensive linemen to the NFL. They pump out defensive players in general to the NFL. And, I mean, it's a good program. They win games. They win ball games. It's a fun place to go play, I would imagine. So he comes out and says, hey, they're my leader. I think he even mentioned that there was almost a commit. Almost. Again, I'm not 100% saying I don't believe any of that, but that's part of the game. He's coming in for his official visit this weekend. I think he has a commitment date tentatively scheduled for the beginning of August, sometime at the beginning of August. For some reason, August 11th is stuck in my head. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's set in stone. It could move up, and you've seen that happen after visits to Auburn. You saw it with, Chance Gilbert, I don't think even remotely expected to announce that soon. And then all of a sudden, boom, he visits, and then, a day later, he's an Auburn commit. This one would really set that defensive line, though, push it right over the edge. This is a big one. This is a big priority. Again, you're talking your true nose, 6'1", 330 right now. Plays at a good program, high motor. Everybody wants him. Ohio State, Georgia, Ole Miss, Florida State, everybody. Everybody wants him. This really puts that defensive line class up against pretty much anybody in the country. Right off the bat, you got Donovan Moore. You add Carlos May. You can throw your edges in there on top of it. It's as good as you can get, just about. So I'm looking for Auburn to make some noise this weekend, looking for Golesh to have a chance once again to send the message that says, hey, we don't play. We ain't scared of nobody. We'll go up against anybody, and we'll get the job done. So that one's big. That's another chance, again, to say, hey, we went toe-to-toe with them, and we came out victorious. So that one is a visit this weekend. This next one, he's not visiting this weekend. He's not visiting this weekend. He's visiting next weekend. But this one is really interesting, and this one may be even more of a Georgia recruiting update than it is an Auburn recruiting update. But out of the top 20 players in the state of Georgia, how many do you think currently are committed to Georgia? Half? Out of 20, maybe 8 at the minimum, right? The answer is 1, and his name is Kelsey Adams. And I'm saying 1, and I'm adding at the end for now, because he is shopping around. Shopping around is the wrong word. He's looking around. He's a 4-star offensive tackle from Langston Hughes, high school powerhouse in Georgia, 6'6", 320 pounds. Again, high 4-star guy, number 137 in the country. He's looking around now, and he's got an Auburn visit scheduled. So what's going on over there? It's pretty unprecedented to think that Georgia could go essentially completely shut out in the state of Georgia in the top 20. There's still 4 guys, I think, out there in the top 20 that are uncommitted, maybe something like that. Maybe less than 4, actually. That may have been the top 25. It's really hard to even imagine that could possibly happen. But if they lose Kelsey Adams, it's a really good chance that could happen. Now, it's still early. Flips could happen later in the cycle. But that's something to watch. I'm really interested. I think LSU, according to the Rivals prediction machine thing they have, LSU seems to have a lot of momentum somehow. But, hey, you get a crack at him next week. Which is the last weekend of official visits before the dead period. And then we're really going to have to hunker down for stuff to talk about, because we have just gone on a absolute tear as far as commits go. And, you don't have a ton left. You still got some guys out there, but you don't have a ton left to finish the dang class off. You still got a lot in June. Man, you got 4 to 5 guys you could add before the end of June. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy what's going on over there. It's crazy the success Auburn's having right now against Georgia on the recruiting trail. I know everybody's like, man, I want to start seeing it on the field. And I think it's okay to expect that. And it's okay to still be excited about the potential of, winning battles off the field, because you got to win those. What happened with Hugh Freeze doesn't mean that's not the rule. That's the exception. Typically, if you recruit well and you give any effort whatsoever to coaching the team, you're going to be successful. That's kind of the formula. You look at it everywhere else. You bring in good players, you coach those good players up, you're going to have pretty good results. If you bring in good players, you can't just expect them to just go out on the field and win. You got to put in the effort too. And I think that was the biggest problem, is just the complete lack of effort from the top. Need your help with something. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but let me know what you think about the recruiting deal. Let me know what you think about Carlos May. Even with him saying Georgia is his leader, he's still like 90% favored to end up at Auburn. Still a lot of recruiting. No, I don't think any recruiting predictions went in for him to go to Georgia, even after he said Georgia was his leader. So, look, not taking anything away from him, not trying to downplay anything or spoil anything. The kid's unbelievable. The kid loves Auburn, and he's coming in for a visit this weekend. And I think, if they want him, they could probably close the deal, or at least shut the door on any potential openings anywhere else. Need y'all's help with something. We're going to jump into that again in just a second. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to buyauburn.com. I tell you, one thing I'm learning about this is there are some really cool businesses out there that are Auburn folks, that Auburn folks started. And as we're having a lot of these conversations and getting these people, signed up for buyauburn.com, there's just so many cool things out there that Auburn people created or Auburn people are running, and I want you guys to know about all of them. So if you have a business, if you have one of those cool products, you can list it at buyauburn.com for less than $1 a day. And then if you're shopping, man, start at buyauburn.com. If you need some type of service, start at buyauburn.com. Doesn't matter what it is, there's a ton of different industries represented there. So show us some love. It's buyauburn.com. We'll be back right after this. Need your help with something, okay? So we had this idea, which I think is electric, and it started off electric last night. We were going to do a South Florida watch party where we went back and live streamed, sort of like a simulated Barncast for football games, but we took the video of their game versus Boise State and we chopped up all the defense. So we were only watching offense. But apparently you can watch a full baseball game 100% ripped straight from the stream live. But you can't take football and chop it up and put it on and stream it live. So they took our video down. I don't even want to risk doing that again. So the question is, what's something fun we could do for the rest of the summer? Barncast. We're going to keep doing our Barncast on Sunday night, which is essentially like a recap of the week. And those are really fun. They're short, but it's just sort of like a bonus way to put a bow on the end of the week and kind of get ready for the next week of shows. I want to do something different for the Barncast in the week. I want to have something on a Thursday night. Number one, what night is probably the best? Thursday night feels like the sweet spot. And then content-wise, what do we do? We're going to start brainstorming to try to come up with some really good ideas. You guys help. You guys in the chat and you guys that jump in on the lives help drive the content quite a bit with the memes, with the comments and things like that. But we need some type of hook. That was really deflating because it was really fun. Like it already had started off really fun. Twitter apparently, or X, whatever you want to call it, doesn't care. That's always an option. But the interaction's weird, and not everybody has it. And I don't know if we just say, let's just let it rip on X, and everybody just has to go over to X to watch it, or what. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. What are some good ideas for Barncast material? It's not just the same old, we pick a topic and talk about it and then you guys react. I'd like to do something fun. And love to have that be like our giveaway night too, where we can do some fun giveaways with aushirts.com, different sponsors that we have. I just want to make it fun. I want to make that a fun night for the summer because, again, I'm telling you, the news is about to really slam on the brakes, especially when the dead period gets here. So that'll be something that can kind of break up the monotony and we can have a blast. So hit me up with your ideas. Can't wait to hear those. But it's time for the Jackarse of the week, brought to you by Jackarse Rentals. If you're in East Alabama or Columbus, Georgia, surrounding areas, hit them up. If you got a project and you don't have the equipment, you don't need to have the equipment all the time. You just need to have the equipment for a short period of time. You need to rent it, whether it's a skid steer, Mini X, any type of lift, all kinds of equipment. They got it there. You can save 10% by using coupon code BARN10 at checkout, or you can just tell them you listen to the Barn in person, and JJ will hook your butt up. Without further ado, let's give the Jackarse of the week. And this is not a particular person. It's a whole organization, and it's the Texas Tech Athletic Department as a whole. The head coach, Joey McGuire, the athletic director, Ken Paxton, the attorney general in Texas. Last night, guys, this is pathetic. This is so pathetic. Last night, they put out a 22-minute video essentially doing like a Q&A of why they're not wrong. The athletic director even went on to say, not on this video, he may have said it in the video, but he said it in a statement, that Texas Tech has nothing to do with this lawsuit. Texas Tech hasn't funded anything. Texas Tech hasn't done anything. They're just supporting a young child going through recovery. Here's the deal. There are a lot of NCAA rules that don't violate law. Gambling, for the most part, is one of those. Performance-enhancing drugs are another one. There are drugs that are completely over-the-counter that are legal for you to take, for you to be prescribed, that are banned substances in college football and the NFL. There are eligibility rules. Hey, you got to have X amount of progress towards your degree to be eligible to play, to be eligible to transfer. Hey, if I transfer, some of my credits don't transfer. There are lots of rules that don't violate law. Okay? So violating law is not the determining factor on if you should serve punishment or not. It's pretty freaking clear in every sport on the earth, you can't gamble on it. And you sure as you know what, cannot gamble on your own team. Period. That violates everything. And everything that is, somewhat pure about the sport. Regardless of how you feel about players getting paid, regardless how you feel about the transfer portal, regardless how you feel about rev share, coaches' contracts, anything, regardless of how you feel about anything that has to do with that team coming together, okay? How those people got there, you can be mad at, doesn't matter. When you get to the game, it's still one team trying to beat the other. At the end of the day, that's the only thing left that is we can feel like is true. This team A everybody on team A wants to beat everybody on team B, and everybody on team B wants to beat everybody on team A, and they're going to duke it out and may the best man win. That's the purity of sport. If you open this door And the fact that they're treating this, I could go on a whole different tangent, but if you open the door to this, you want to talk about a lot of the things we say about, oh, the college football is destroyed, this, that, and the other is hyperbole. You open the door to allowing gambling, you really want to talk about destroying the sport. You're really getting close to the going over that quote unquote slippery slope. And addiction is real. It's not just it's not just that you just become addicted to drugs and nothing else. I understand there's all kinds of addictions out there, and for the most part, once they get rolling, it kind of gets out of your control, and yeah, you do need to go seek help. But you know what? It does not change the fact that there are repercussions for your actions. Just because you have some type of addiction, you don't get to claim you don't get to claim that you're innocent of the act. There are a lot of things that I could be addicted to that could cost me jobs, could cost me my marriage, could cost me things. I don't get to just say, hey, I'm addicted. You got to forgive me. I'm addicted. You can't hold it against me. And that's what you hear the head coach, Joey McGuire, he says essentially those same things, but in the opposite. We're helping a kid recover from addiction, and we're not going to hold that against him. I don't think his career should be ended because of an addiction. You can't just claim that and you're just automatically forgiven for everything. Hey, I'm pulling for him for recovery. I'm pulling for him to get past it. But you know what, brother? You got to pay the piper. If I gamble away all my money on an addiction, I don't not lose everything. My house, my cars. If I can't pay the bills, I don't get to just claim addiction and then they can't come repossess my car. The bank can't come take my house because I can't pay my bills. That's not how that works. You got to pay the price. You cannot gamble in sports and be an athlete. You can't do it. You definitely can't gamble on your own sport, and then you surely can't gamble on your own team. I could say if he was gambling on hockey, maybe we can have a conversation. If he's gambling on a completely different sport, maybe we could have that conversation. When you bet on your own team, regardless of what the bet was, that's game over. That's game over, my man. They've held people out of the Hall of Fame for that. I don't understand it. I don't understand what's happening right now. You sunk a bunch of money in a guy that you didn't do your background on, and now you got to pay the price, Texas Tech. That's just it. Let me know what you think. It's crazy. It's wild. I'm sure this appeal, I would imagine this appeal is expedited and they get some kind of final answer. Really, the appeal will set it back to if the NCAA wins the appeal, things will be set back to their initial ruling. And then the trial is set for sometime in February, which is after the season is over, if they decide to go to trial. It's crazy, man. Guys, let me know what you think. Definitely hit me up with your ideas. Let me know what you think about recruiting, man. Can Auburn take down Kirby again for another guy? Maybe two. We'll talk again very, very soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.